Welcome to Salon Talks. I am Mary Elizabeth Williams, and this is Adam Pally. He is an actor and a producer. You know him from, you look surprised. You are a producer.
I guess so. Yeah, I just never I never think of myself as like kind of Hollywood, like Jerry Bruckheimer or something.
I just told you.
I was like, thank you. Yeah, I am.
You are a producer.
Yes.
But we know you probably better as an actor. We know you from Happy Endings, from Mindy Project, from the pandemic comedy Who Invited Charlie, which I saw, and now you can watch him on Netflix with Arnold Schwarzenegger, of all people, in the new series Fubar, which just got renewed for a second season.
Yes, it did.
And you play the Great Dane.
The Great Dane.
That is a very impressive name for someone to have. Adam,
yes.
Tell me about the Great Dane. Who is this guy?
The Great Dane is a weapons expert, family man who kind of got caught up in a Turkish prison and is kind of trying to ride his sentence out. He's like fast talking, kind of he knows what he's doing is illegal, but he's kind of made a deal that like you can pull the thread on anything and it's kind of illegal, from the clothes we wear to the phones we use. So, they call him the Great Dane because he looks like a dog, not because he's Danish.
And you get to do action.
Yes, I get to do action.
You get to do action with the GOAT.
With the GOAT.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
What was that like? What did you learn? Did Arnold Schwarzenegger teach you anything? Because you're a physical guy. You do a lot of physical stuff in your comedy. What did you learn from doing action with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I learned from Arnold. I think you learn from everybody. You take a little from everybody, and Arnold, I think, has one of the best on-set demeanors and vibes of any actor I've ever worked with, especially someone so ubiquitous and kind of from my childhood, like a true hero and millionaire. And those people tend to have a lot of things around them that makes it difficult to get to know them. And Arnold is just out there, sitting on the same apple box that you are, talking about the Italian food he had last night. And it kind of, you can tell when you watch the show that everyone feels kind of good when they're around him. And I think I learned how to do that from him.
And you get to work with some other people in comedy. You're back with Fortune.
Fortune, I can't get away from Fortune.
You can't escape her.
Even in my personal life.
She's just everywhere, right?
Yeah, I know. I love Fortune. We're old close friends, and I would, if she called me to be, in the middle of the country tomorrow, I would be there.
And it's okay. So I'm gonna see if she takes you up on that now when she sees this, as if she'll see this.
I know she's a big Salon.com watcher.
As we all know. But I want to ask, because you're working with people in comedy a lot in what you do. You started in improv. You tend to be this guy who I think of gets cast in that role of the guy who comes in and creates chaos.
Sometimes.
It is a running theme. It's not the only thing, but you are often the guy who comes in and creates chaos. With all these other actors who are also kind of known as chaotic, like a Ben Schwartz or a Fortune. What is it about that background in doing those early works in improv that puts you in that direction?
I think you just, you're really you learn how to act in the moment, and so you look for things, like chaos can be, thought of as a negative word, but I think it also means that things are happening that are unexpected. And to me, that's where like the real meat on the bone is, because anybody can take a scene that's written and say it verbatim, but to find the unexpected in it that maybe even like the writer didn't know was in there, and then go with it and make it all okay. I think that's the common thread. And
I know when we talked to Reed, he was talking about improvising with you and also finding that sweet spot of going off the leash, but then also being disciplined with the director. How do you create that kind of balance when you're working on a set and you're working with people who have different degrees of comfort with scripted work and improvisational work and physical work?
I think it's just trust. You just have to like really trust the people you're working with, and And sometimes it's blind. Sometimes you're just like, well, put me in a position and I'll do what you say. And sometimes you have more of a thought to it, and so there's a conversation, and sometimes it's yours. So it runs the gamut, but I think it's just trusting the process and the people. And I continue to work with the same people because I trust them, and I think more importantly they trust me, which is I think that's worth its weight in gold. That a Sam Richardson or a Ben Schwartz or a Fortune Feimster continue to work with me. I think it's because they trust me that I'll have their back too.
And vice versa, yeah. And when you talk about you've been doing this for a long time, you've been at this for 20 years now, is that right?
God, yes. Can you tell, do I look it?
No, not at all, not at all.
Yes, I've been at this for 20 years.
Eternally youthful, Adam Pally, but you've been at this for 20 years. You're not the guy, the college student aged guy creating chaos in that college aged guy way. You are now,
it's not
you
cute
are
anymore.
You are a family man.
Yes,
you
it's
have
not cute.
you have a wife and children. You are a homeowner. You are a serious adult.
Yes. I have a mortgage.
Right, you had a mortgage, the whole deal.
Yeah.
How do you see yourself evolving now as an actor and a performer? Because you are now in a different stage in your life. What does acting mean to you now?
It means more to me now. I think especially like over the pandemic and then the years that ensued, and even the years before a little bit, I just realized how much I enjoy working and enjoy being on a set and enjoy taking a project and like throwing yourself into it and working with people. Like I really like the collaborative nature of it. So it means more to me because if I'm working, that's like I want to cherish those times because I don't know how many more times there'll be. Not that anything's wrong or anything, but it's like an actor.
Are you okay?
No, I'm dying. An actor's shelf life is small. And there are actors that go through droughts of years at a time without working. And I never know when my number is going to be up as far as people wanting to work with me. So I feel like any chance I get to work, I really, really relish it now in a way. When I was younger, I was happy to do it, but it was like, yeah, that's what I do. Now I feel so lucky to do it.
And I know you've talked in other interviews about that, about moments in your career where you thought, is this it? Is my career over? Am I going to be able to come back from certain things?
Yes. Yeah, I think I still think that all the time. I mean, it's when you grow through the industry, it's really exciting because you're like, oh, I'm going from a supporting player to someone they're putting all this faith in, and then if that doesn't work out, even if it's not your fault, it's still your thing. It's your face. You were behind it. You were out on the talk shows telling everybody it's good. So it's like you have to learn how to deal with that in a way that is both acknowledging it but not caring about it, and that's a tricky dance.
Does it get easier as you get older, or does it get harder?
I think it's case by case. I think that that I just heard a quote like it was akin to the thing like love is pain, or like the more you love, the more suffering you're in for, and I think that's true for me in a job. Like I tend to love these jobs so much, and then inevitably they go away. That's the business, and so you get comfortable in those feelings of like loving something so much and then losing it. And I don't think it gets easier. I think in some ways it gets, for the ones that you really love, it gets harder.
And just it's the ephemeral nature of projects, right? And the things that you're on.
Sure.
You've been in so many. You've been in so many franchises. I can't think of another actor, and maybe I'm just not using my imagination, who's been in the MCU, who's been part of the Star Trek world, who's been part of the Star Wars world, who's been part of the Sonic the Hedgehog world, and part of the Mindy Project. That's an impressive
I'm sure that there's another one.
universe,
I'm sure there's another
Adam, to be part
actor
of.
batting around that's done them all. What about Zoe Saldana? She seems to do.
I was like, is it Ben Schwartz? And I don't think Ben Schwartz even hits all
Oh,
those.
well, don't tell Ben.
All right, well, I'll
Yeah.
next time we have him on,
I'm sure Ben's box office.
I'll look at the crossover.
I'm sure Ben knows his box office.
But you were also a fan. Was there a particular one that you felt really excited? I mean, was like being part of the Star Wars universe. Was there one that you thought, oh my God, is there one that you're still dreaming of? I want to get the call for.
No, I was never dreaming about getting. I mean, like I don't dream about getting a call for anything because most of my career is self-generated. So most of what I dream about is like thinking up a good character or part that I can write or pitch to friends to write for me, and then we can work on it together. And I don't really spend a lot of my time. Maybe that's why I don't have them thinking about dream roles. But I think again, it's the people that you do it with. Like Jason Sudeikis and I used to play basketball together in New York years ago when he was a writer on SNL. And I was just a struggling actor and improviser. And then so to be like 15 years later in Star Wars, to like walk out of the dressing room together in Stormtrooper things and be like, it's like me and Jason have that now. And it adds to the friendship that we've had before. And I think, it's the people involved and less, even though, I mean, I'm so thankful to be in all these things, but like Iron Man, that was, I got to work with my mentor, and see how he works on set and not just write funny jokes for him, but like watch him command the set and watch Robert Downey just be like boom, 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 and then you learn that and you're like, wow, So as much as I'm so excited, and that movie was directed by Shane Black, which was like, as a film nerd, like even that was a huge deal for me, it's less the thing and more the people.
And when you talk about the thing, the people, you are also your own people. You talk about how you're self-generated. You do a lot that's self-generated. You were in LA and in New York and in the UK doing your show, your Evening With, where you're doing music and storytelling. Mm-hmm. You come from a musical home.
Yes, I do.
So what is that show, and what are you doing with that is kind of scratching a different itch for you as a creative person?
Well, I just think I think I started seeing the writing on the wall a couple years ago that I think the future of comedy is live. It is like people will pay money to go see something that makes them laugh because there's still a magic trick there. There's still something special to that a human can do that's worth money. Someone makes you laugh, makes you feel something on stage in front of you that wasn't there before, that's worth money. And I think television and film and all that stuff is like worth less money now. And so while it wasn't all economic, it was driven by like, well, how am I gonna survive? What skills do I have? What do I do that's my magic trick that like I can make money on? And it was music and storytelling and comedy. And so just kind of put them all together and have been doing the show around Canada and the UK and a couple of my favorite cities, and really low pressure and small venues, pop-up shows. People, sometimes it's 300 people, sometimes it's 40 people in a small bar, but it keeps the pressure low, and no show is the same, and it makes me feel again like I'm that 20-something-year-old kid in a basement underneath the Gristedes at 4 a.m. trying something.
I know that basement in that Gristedes.
Yeah.
That Gristedes is closed now.
I know. So is that basement.
I know.
So is the tennis place above it.
All of that whole corner,
Gone.
shut down now,
Gone.
Adam.
It'll be beautiful though.
Whatever
it is.
Whatever rises,
Such as New York.
whatever Chick-fil-A rises from
I don't know really Chick-fil-A. That area is pretty hit now.
Okay, that's what happened in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
We got a new
I think
new Chick-fil-A now.
Hudson Yard. It's like Hudson Yards now. It's like Hudson Yards adjacent. It'll be pretty cool.
That corner is gonna be fine.
High value.
You also just did a travel show. I want to ask
did.
about 101 places to party before you die.
Yes.
And as you get older, that before you die part becomes a little more real and real and real.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what made you want to do that. And as an over 40 person myself, the places that you want to go to party are a little different as one gets older. Like it's I want to party, but I want to party as like a parent
Yes.
who also like eventually is going to have to like
Of
pay my
course.
mortgage again.
Yes, of course. I think the spirit of the show, John Gabris, who's my best friend and one of my oldest collaborators who I did the show with, he used to say, he was saying on the show that had this show come to us 10 years earlier, it would have been way easier to do because partying in your 40s is not the easiest thing. But I think the thing that naturally led to the show hitting a chord with people was that it was not destinations that were hard to get to or expensive. They were pretty local to the United States, smaller cities with big airports that are cheap to fly to, like Miami and Atlanta, were where we were focusing on. Smaller destinations like Portland or Richmond that have kind of a food scene, just stuff that didn't seem out of reach. Because when John and I used to tour as young comedians, you didn't get to choose, I'm gonna go party in Buffalo tonight. That's where the show was. And if you like to party after a show, which I don't know if you can tell by the way I look, I do, that's where you did it, in Buffalo. So that was kind of the organic nature of the show. And I think people our age resonated with that. The idea of like, I still have to go to work in the morning, I still have to be a dad, I still have to have my career, but this weekend is taking me here with my buddy, and so I'm gonna have the best time I can.
In a compressed amount of time. I want to ask you one more question, because when you talk about building a career with people you love to work with, your Instagram bio right now is Steph Curry is my best friend.
Yes.
You are working again
with David Caspe, who is my best friend, from the creator of Happy Endings and Champagne Ale. This is our third go around together, and this time we enlisted Steph Curry.
No big deal, right?
Yes, no big deal.
Just
no
a super
big deal.
chill.
Super chill, yeah. I had to call. That's one of the things. Like when people are like, "Do you like stop it? Like he's not your best friend." I'm like, "No, he's not my best friend, but we're close." They're like, "What are you talking about?" It is a shocking thing to hear. But me and David were contestants on his wife's marriage, like newlywed game with our wives, and we hit it off with Steph, and we became friends with him. And then his career is, he could play however long he wants, but I think he wants to branch out, and this show was a natural way to do it. So I'm hoping that the studios will pay the writers and we can get back to work.
100%, absolutely. And in the meantime, we can watch you on Fubar with a couple other people like Arnold Schwarzenegger,
yes.
right?
And then coming this winter is Knuckles.
And Knuckles, right?
Which is a spin-off show of Sonic, which I just finished filming, with Idris Elba, which was really fun, really fun.
Congratulations, Adam Pally. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
sitting
much
with us today.
for having me.
Thanks.